Don in London, hello. March 15th, the Ides of March. Yes, and all that. 2013, Don in London. My videos all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive around people, places and things. Trying to be perfect and never so. And what became my best friend was alcohol. Then I became dependent on it, or codependent on it, and then I couldn't stop drinking, and I was addicted to it. And addiction in my case, 24/7, not able to stop, and this went on for some time, into this century. And I was very lucky because some people tried me out, some medical people, and suggested I needed more prolonged support on a daily basis. And the only place they knew I could get this, being poor and having no money, or having money and being very rich, it wouldn't have mattered either way. The only way to get continuous support, daily support, has proved to be through a fellowship, and that fellowship is Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, never can, never will, and if you are in the fellowship of AA, you know I don't speak for you, ever. I don't want to and I can't, because we don't speak on behalf of other people, we speak for ourselves in fellowship, and we share experience, strength and hope where we feel we can. Alcoholics Anonymous, it is about anonymity, so it provides a sanctuary for us to find out the truth of who we are, and who we choose to share the truth of who we are with. So in my case, in family and community, they all knew where I got to with alcohol, and there was no hiding it. And when I asked, should I do this, go to a fellowship of non-drinkers, they all said with a resounding bellow, yes, go, because we can't help you. And they were admitting their powerlessness as much as I admitted my powerlessness over alcohol and trying to stop drinking. So in the fellowship of AA, I've learned how to be sober one day at a time and get support when I need it, at any time of day pretty much, with the help of social networking, telephones, you name it. The modern age has helped me keep sober one day at a time. But the roots of my sobriety will always be in the fellowship of AA, the 12th step principles, how to live a free life, live freely, with freedom of choice based on reality, and the 12 traditions which hold fellowship together in unity, service and recovery. And fellowship is not like a conventional organisation. It doesn't have a hierarchy and it doesn't have leaders. We are all but trusted servants doing what we can to help each other. So we all help each other in different ways, and it can be just turning up to a meeting and being there, through to doing something a little bit more exciting like saying hello to people, or some of the more, I suppose, difficult tasks of administration, not leadership, administration usually, and that's as far as it goes in terms of leadership, doing some of the admin roles. So what is AA? I share the AA preamble here, and then share some of my thoughts and feelings, or feelings and thoughts which have occurred to me this morning. So first and foremost, the AA preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. So the common problem is alcoholism, and that's what it's all about. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, and often people don't have a desire to stop drinking when they first get to AA, because if they're like me, they were pushed through the doors by an anxious family member saying, go in there and sort yourself out. And of course I went in there and I couldn't sort myself out because I was utterly confused on that first day. But it did alert me to the fact that there was a fellowship out there of people who were dedicated to being sober rather than being drunk. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA, this is the most important thing. You can be all of these things, but AA isn't. Alcoholics Anonymous is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. So you can be part of any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. You can engage in controversy. You can endorse or oppose causes. That's your option in life, based on your freedom of choice. AA is there for one thing. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So no matter what walk of life you come from, whether you became a homeless person like I did, hiding under buildings and in the local park, Hyde Park, very big and very easy to hide in, but there are hundreds of people sometimes hiding in it, so it's not all that safe. All those things can happen. Or this is how it is. People turn up to a meeting in a Rolls Royce or in their bare feet, just about. So from having everything to having nothing materially, it doesn't stop the fact that being sober is probably better than being drunk and out of our minds, whether we're sitting on a park bench or sitting on a very plush settee somewhere, or sofa or couch. So I've learned from both extremes of the spectrum what it's like to be an alcoholic not in recovery, and then an alcoholic in recovery. So my thoughts and feelings this morning, March 15th 2013. March is all about higher powers for me. If I don't know what is right for me, how on earth would I judge what is right for you? How often do we put ourselves in the shoes of other people and see what they see? And do we give them respect for who they are, what is happening to them and their emotional and spiritual living? Do I really respect you, or do I pay lip service to equality? Now, in the past, a lot of the work I did was very demanding and meant that I had to help people be as good as they could be in whatever it was they were doing, connected with work, family or whatever it was. And I felt I was equal, but I obviously had some ideas of how to help them sort out how to get to the best free choice they could about what to do next. But I wonder how much I paid lip service to that, or forgot that people are equal, and if I can be equal with people, they can be equal back with me. So these days I'm very clear that I'm not a teacher, I'm not a guru, never was. I'm just another person, and about some things I may know more, but it doesn't mean you're less than me, because you will know more about other things, especially your own life. And it's easy to forget that other people have all the wisdom of all the years they've been alive, and that needs to be respected as much as anything else when we're trying to help each other. Understanding other people and their needs and wants is a good way to start to level our conversation with the world. If we are equal, I need to remind myself that you have the right to your way of life, and I have no right to interfere or instruct you in any way. True humility is about respecting the outlook of other people and how they want to live their lives, and we can be respectful and still continue to live our way of life, or our life the way we feel is right for ourselves. So it's live and let live. It is very easy to write people off and forget about them, and then we lose their truth, love and wisdom, which was available if only we didn't write them off. If only we had given them the chance, or a chance, and listened to what they had to say. So we can miss a lot in life by thinking we know already. How often do we say in a conversation, I know, but in fact we don't know, because we're probably not listening properly. We can go blundering into other people's lives as if we had a right to be there, and I feel this way about a certain set of circumstances connected to me. You know, we can go blundering into people's lives again, and in recovery I need to remind myself that it's not about my needs to find out something that somebody's okay, which is supreme. It's what am I doing things for? And why am I blundering into somebody else's life when they're perfectly content without me? In fellowship, yes, we can go blundering into other people's lives. I don't know what happens to our common manners. This is me and what I've done in the past. In a meeting, we can be chatting with people we know, hear somebody else speak, and suddenly we are on their case and trying to talk to them. We will walk over and find them in conversation with another person and interrupt to make a point we feel is relevant. Without any hint of an excuse, excuse me, could I just say? Most often a person with something on their mind will push in and start talking as fast as they can about what they heard or what they want to tell, without thought for the conversation that might have been happening between two other people. So if ever you've been in a fellowship meeting and suddenly your conversation with another person's been interrupted, as if the other person doesn't exist, it happens, and it's happened to me. So I forgive immediately and realise that sometimes what another person has to say is more important, and it's really important for them to say it. And I don't mind, but sometimes we're just downright rude with each other, and we don't realise that we're just trampling on the toes of other people. Often after a chair, that's the person who speaks at the beginning of the meeting, sharing their experience, strength and hope, which has been particularly inspiring, a group of people will descend upon the speaker, and the speaker will be drowned in many conversations happening over and over, and all jumbled up. As the recipient of all these thankful words and gestures of support, it can be overwhelming to the point of being senseless and unusable information. And the newcomer can be in a similar position if they declare they are a newcomer. Can often suffer from far too much information about what they should do, and never hear the simple suggestions which help a person into sobriety. If you see a newcomer with a wise person that you know, why not leave them to it? The higher power doesn't necessarily have to work through you today. Indeed, the higher power might be thinking, or the higher power in you might be saying, I don't need to interrupt these people, they're doing all right without me. Now, something I know, I don't know what I don't know until I get there. Sometimes the best way for the higher power to work is through other people and not through me. I sometimes wonder if our fellows would be better off in Stalkers Anonymous, because they are so anxious to share the message of experience, strength and hope in their own way, rather than let the other person start the conversation. Indeed, there are such people in our fellowship, namely stalkers. Letting go and letting other people who have more in common, have more similarities with the newcomer, are the higher power today. The wisdom to know the difference about when and how to help new people in sobriety and new people in the area is best left to the choices of the individual most of the time, rather than impose ourselves and our outlook on the unsuspecting and very suspicious recipient of our attention today. So we can cause more harm than good sometimes by our zeal and a bit of stalking going on. Whatever our motives might be in the back of our minds, is it step 12, where we share and encourage the newcomer and the new person in our area, or have we stepped into step 13? We have a different sort of desire and attraction for the person we've just seen. Step 13 is not part of the program, which is to do with attraction to whatever you're attracted to and a desire to get to know them, rather than, what are my real values and beliefs around what I'm doing next. And if you get a twinge inside which says, ooh, nice person, why are you going to approach them and what for? Got to know where you're coming from. So if you know where you're coming from with somebody of equal understanding and outlook, no problem. But if you're dealing with somebody who's new, just getting their feet onto the ground in recovery as a newcomer or a new person in the area, it's about step 12, not step 13. Yeah. I was just chatting to my best friend about someone being very friendly and sometimes over-familiar old dog, meaning a silver-haired devil with an eye for the ladies. She knows how to handle herself with old dogs and silver-haired old devils. And yet, just because she can handle herself, it does not mean that other women can do too. Any amount of warnings about old devils and cougars on the rampage may get the attention of their prey. What they don't realise these days is that the object of their desire is often more savvy, and then the tables are turned much faster than in the olden times, when I could be found in the cougar's lair. Yeah, cougars, they've always been there. Was I harmed? ? Absolutely not. I wanted to be there and was very happy to be so at the time. But coming back to the point, if I don't know what is right for me, how on earth could I make a judgment about what is right for you? In fellowship, the journey in recovery is what it can be with what we know just for today. And, you know, we are human of nature. Don't forget that. Don't forget you are a human being with all these feelings. And if you suppress them without knowing what's going on, or if you act out on your feelings when it's inappropriate for yourself and for other people, in the context of what is fellowship in step 12, then beware of your intentions, because you'll be judged by your actions and not what you thought you were doing. And we can get ourselves into trouble very quickly by overstepping the mark and being over-familiar in some instances when it's inappropriate. And some of those situations are very obvious. And if they're not obvious, find a sponsor who is not likely to jump your bones and find out. You know, we're not all innocent either way. Otherwise, why would we be in fellowship? So don't underestimate the savvy newcomer. So they're not completely damaged and don't have no brain at all. They're just disrupted by a malady which is killing them. How am I feeling today? Having shared some laughter with my best friend on the phone, accepted that I am powerless over alcohol, what people do, the places they go and the things they get up to, I'm very happy. And you know, half of what goes on around here I just don't know about, because I'm not included in the gossip stuff. That's a personal choice. But then when I hear just a snippet of what goes on around here, I don't know what to say. It makes me laugh, because people are being human. And they're not doing it, often they're not doing it with malice aforethought, they're just doing it because they don't know any better. That's the best they can be today. So, anyway, I'm out of the rumour mill, and out of the gossip column, as it were. But when I do hear things about what is going on, it just makes me think. First it makes me think, what am I missing out on? Because I'm a human being. And then, well, would I want to be involved like that? Probably the answer is no, because it's just not right for me. So I'm learning what I don't know, and then learning what I do know. Well, anyway, I'm glad that life is going on, and it's rampant. Life is happening in a rampant way. And life is manageable around personal choices and personal freedoms I have today. If I start to interfere in the lives of other people, I will feel their anger. If anybody asks me for help and I make suggestions, they may be happy to hear them, and the suggestions might be useful. Often the suggestions I make may lead to further debate and better outcomes than my initial starting point. Then I have more information and more of an informed outlook from where I started in the moment of now. That is progress. I was asked for help and ended up having more information and a better informed outlook, and so did the other person. That's the one I'm thinking about just now, not the phone call. Practicing all 12 steps and the contingent of my awareness of progress and not perfection means anything is possible based on reality of now. Life can be full of laughter, and it is. Even when we feel like we can be in the ugliest of times, a sense of humour or a sense of hysteria, I'm not sure which applies to me all the time, will cheer me up no end. Humour and feeling that sense of warmth, even in the most difficult of times, can help us through difficult days in recovery. I know when I need the company of other people, it is when I feel raw emotion watching the news programmes which just leave me powerless and sorrowful. When the tears flow and I cannot shut them off, it means that I have lost perspective, or does it? Raw emotion is what it is, and I'm glad I feel it. When I try to rationalise horror, that is when I am losing my humanity, and a meeting or 10 will put me back in a place of understanding and acceptance. Powerless to change the world, and yet freedom to feel the truth of now is liberating and truly human. When I feel the truth of now, I am absolutely in the right place, be it good, bad or ugly. The emotional and spiritual journey is worth it today. And it is, when it's horrible and you can feel the truth of it, feel the truth of now, the emotion of now, it's your true humanness. When we start to rationalise it, that's our thinking layered over our feelings, thinking layered on top. It's like an onion, it grows and grows and grows, and then peeling back the onion back to the raw emotion is what a lot of people say is the best thing they've ever done. Even if you have to cry at the news from time to time, because it is raw emotion. And I think it's Red Nose Day today in London, which means it's all about charitable events to help children across the world, wherever they may be. And people do absolutely amazing things to help in extraordinary ways and make a little bit of a dent in the lives of kids across the world. And that will make me cry, I know that. I'm glad I can feel it, and may get me to put some digits on a telephone and send a text which sends money somewhere. But that's me. I'm a human living in the moment of now, and what makes it more easy is the serenity prayer, which can be being restored to a place of sanity when there's madness all around, the can do and cannot do, and wisdom to know the difference, be it to your God or just simply good conscience, the higher power which works for you. An exhortation and a meditation of can do, can't do, wisdom to know the difference. So to God in good conscience as you come to understand for you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Moment by moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, and just for today.